Welcome back to Final Fantasy Ultra Champion Edition. We are hanging out at Crescent Lake. Last time we took on and defeated Lich, the undead boss, and since then I have made the trip over here to Crescent Lake. You notice right away that we do not have a Circle of Sages as we do in the vanilla version of the game. I suspected those characters or that content has been used elsewhere. I mean, we have seen the Circle of Sages in the first town. That was kind of our guide to our job classes. And looks like our equipment is the silver level of equipment here in Crescent Lake. Now, I just wanted to demonstrate there that there is no Circle of Sages hiding out to the side, and an interesting visual twist here. You can actually see the crescent-shaped lake to the east side of the village, which I think is really cool. We actually can see our Crescent Lake right there, and some water features here in the town. Here's our white magic, level 6 white magic. I'm going to pick up the exit spell because Tiok does have one charge of level 6 magic. My sage does not yet have level 6 magic access, but I'll show you what the black magic looks like. And there are 15,000 here. Ice 3, Dark, Temper 2, Galaxy does some damage. Oh no, Galaxy might be a status spell. I have to check when I get to where I'm going to be learning some of those spells. We'll take another look at that, because Dark is a damaging spell. So not a whole lot going on at Crescent Lake. We don't have a lot of narration. We just get the canoe from the one lone person there, and off we go into the river system. Now, I did find a battle in this area that was quite lucrative in terms of cash money. That was the battle with the Giants. The Giants may be, in my observation at least, the first random battle monster you can run into that really pays out good gold. Experience is not too bad, but if we run into some, we'll see. But boy, the Giants really paid off. You can get battles of 4 Giants get you over 2,000 gold, so that's a nice chunk when you saw the silver weapons are getting up near 20,000. Going to take a look at the map here, just to see what changes have been made, if any, here to this area. There's the kind of lower part of the volcano there on the west side of the screen. It looks like the route from Crescent Lake to the volcano has been changed very little, or not at all, because the path looks very familiar to me. A lot of these battles in the river system are back attack battles. They must have a very high number for that. Especially the Karib type enemies, seems like they get a lot of back attacks. And you can see these guys come to play. I've got 3 poisons, and then just Esper up there, my paladin at the top. So the strategy here is hopefully we can use the Purge spell to get rid of all 3 of the poisons and then run away. That's kind of the goal when you do something like that, because Purge will cure just one character out of battle, but it will cure your entire party in battle. So the hope there was that maybe Esper would fire off the Purge spell, and then maybe the next character could get the escape at the beginning. Didn't quite happen that way, but at least we didn't have to use a bunch of stuff, a bunch of spells, or a bunch of items. And we're on our way over here to the volcano. Here we see the Minotaur type enemy. It's a stepped up bull enemy. And on the way over here, this is because this party is so defensive and relies on healing and setting up defenses, during dungeon crawls, I'm going to be fighting very few battles. I'm going to be running from every battle that I can, just because my resources are that low. And my offense the offensive output is just not there for this party. The Viking does most of the damage for battles. And of course I can do nice damage with my caster down there at the bottom. Zonk, my sage, can do good black magic damage, but of course that's limited. So when you have a kind of a long, grueling dungeon crawl, and the river system there, I'm including that as part of our dungeon crawl. Absolutely. Because it's a gauntlet. Now, look at Red Giants, big damage right away in the first round. A couple of big smacks in that first round. And look at Sulla there, my Viking, is very close to death. And there goes T-Hawk. So they targeted the same 2 characters right away. So they just kind of took on everybody, and there's another character dead. So you can see the enemies in this game, they come to play. They come to play. We get a jump attack, critical hits, couple of hits, lots of damage. I did not take a second to heal up there before this battle, so I'm going to hope to get out of this one quickly. I think the goal here is going to be to grab this chest, heal up, and get out of here. Now, unfortunately, the character with the life spell and the exit spell was one of the ones who got taken out. And looking at my spell list, I'm realizing now I definitely should have picked up another casting of life with my sage. But I've been considering my sage just a straight-up black mage, so for a second there I had a brief lapse in judgment and did not put a life spell on my sage. So unfortunately, for the rest of the game, I'm not going to have access to the life spell from more than one character until I think there's a life 2 later on. Maybe I can pick that one up as a more advanced level spell. So we cleared a couple of treasures there, and now we've got to head back. And the Gurgu Volcano is really the first dungeon that in the vanilla version of the game that you really should be doing it in 2 steps when it's not forcing you to. The marsh cave, you could and probably should clear that upper area first, the area to the north, then come out and exit and come back. But you can crawl all the marsh cave if you're lucky and you have a party setup that's correct. The earth cave, of course, forces you to crawl it in 2 segments, with the use of the vampire and the rod, etc., to go to Sarda's cave. But the volcano, you could just walk right on through, but it's really encouraging you should do it in 2, unless you go, by the way that I do most of the times in my playthroughs, go to the Castle of Ordeals, pick up the heal staff, then you can take the volcano in 1 crawl. If you have access to the heal staff, you can take the volcano in 1 crawl because you can get all of that free healing. Now, thankfully, the clinic still has a very cheap 1 gold revival for characters. Thankfully, we don't have to do anything too tricky there. I'm just taking a look at my spell list. We're going to heal up. Now, you notice I did not do much equipment improvement on the way in, and that's because a lot of times you pick up nicer equipment in those dungeons. I did not spend a bunch of money stepping up my equipment because I'm hoping to pick up good stuff. I did pick up the silver armor for my paladin, and I'm hoping to get even better stuff as we continue the crawl. Now, the goal for this segment, and it really was for the first part there, was to clear out the treasures on that 2nd floor. On level B2, I guess, because the volcano goes down. We should be calling them B1, B2, down to B5, etc. But the goal is to just clear out that area, and then use my exit spell, go back to town, heal up, sell things I don't need, restock, and then continue. Because the 2nd floor there, as we just got a glance at, looks like the layout of it hasn't been changed much, if at all. Looking at the layout of it, it's still just as frustrating of a maze as it is in the vanilla version. I don't know if there have been some slight changes to the layout, but it very, very much resembles what I did before. And again, you can see a back attack here with the Ochus, and they have 3 hits. They don't do a ton of damage, but they have a chance to do multiple status attacks with their attacks. So when they get 3 hits landed on, you can see poison, sleep. I don't know if you can also get mute on there. They flash by kind of quickly when your respawn rate is set to 8. And I'm using my purge spells because I know that I'm not going to be trying to crawl the entire dungeon, so I'm not going to be relying too much on those heal spells because there isn't much lava in the the B2 level of the dungeon. When I am doing a crawl where I'm going farther into the volcano, I will try to preserve my spell charges a little bit more than this now, so I will spend some money in lieu of that. But here again, we have 3 poisoned characters right off the bat. And the hope again is to get off the purge spell, clear all of our poison, and then have somebody get away. Unfortunately, that's not how it happened. So I'm going to be using my last purge spell there and the first couple of spell charges for my cleric. And we're almost back there to the volcano. So you can see I left this in because I wanted to see the frustration that can pop in, or just not the frustration, but the meticulous way that you need to play ROM hacks like this. You cannot rush through more challenging ROM hacks that give this even more challenging old school feel. Even ones that have been kind of rebalanced and tinkered with tend to be just a little bit too difficult to kind of plow through. And that's coming from my experience of having played a number of Final Fantasy ROM hacks. The stairs are in a different place in this ROM hack, by the way. I believe they're in the upper northwest corner there in the vanilla version. That's why my muscle memory wants me to go to the northwest corner rather than the southwest corner. But the floor is still set up like a spiral. You get that kind of cool spiral effect. It's hard to see on one screen, but if you go to Video Game Maps website and take a look at the full floor constructed, you can kind of see design choices that you wouldn't normally notice just playing on a rather limited view. And you can see how mazy this floor is. There's lots of dead ends, there's lots of frustrating spots where you have to stop. There's chests that are at the end of corridors that you have a hard time finding how to get to. And it's again because of your limited view. So if you were playing with the NES version that came with maps of some of the early dungeons, I think up to the volcano is as far as the walkthrough went that came with the NES version, in North America at least. You can get some maps of those floors and tips on how to beat all the enemies you run into. These fire elementals are a lot like the earth elementals. I believe they are inescapable battles in the vanilla version, but they are escapable here. There is a studded robe. So you can see I've got the silver armor on my my paladin up front, my tank. These rogues are kind of a cool battle. They every battle with rogues that I have seen in this game has been a back attack from them. So they kind of are the mirror to the rogue that you can pick up in the game. They're the enemy version of the rogue that prevents back attacks from your party and gives you more preemptive strikes like that. Except now we're on the receiving end of the preemptive attacks. Here's a chance to strike first on a red giant. And we're going to take that opportunity to just get out clean. I've already cleared that area, so I'm just going to exit here. There are a couple of chests in this area that I can grab. And then I'll need to do some more backtracking to get to that treasure room that's down there. And that's usually what pays out the best in the vanilla version, is that treasure room. Although the volcano doesn't have, in this area, many treasures of note, nothing to really write home about. Most of it is armor that is on par with your party level. So they're things you probably already have. And especially in that game where the gold curve is a lot easier, you probably already have things like silver helmets, and I think there are 2 silver helmets in this opening area. I think there's a duplicate. And they're not worth a whole lot to sell. So if you're trying to just, make it through the game quickly in the vanilla version, you can safely skip most of these treasures in this room and just kind of walk right on by. There is, in the vanilla version, there is a flame sword that we're going to find out what's in place of the flame sword. And then there's also the flame armor down in the bottom floor of the dungeon. Those are the 2 big notable ones, although this one does not have elemental type weapons or armor. It doesn't have armor with resistances. And there are very few spellcasting armor items. There are, according to the README, there is just 1 magic casting ring in each of these elemental dungeons. And that's all I know of in this game. So we're going to be looking for the spellcasting ring in this dungeon. We picked up the bind ring in the Earth Cave, and that was actually off video, that was off recording, because I read that there was a notable piece of treasure in there after we beat Lich. So I went in and found it. I think it was on the second to last floor. One of those kind of maze-like floors that you just want to get through at all costs. So we made it through. The zombies are tricky enemies, although my hammers can do critical damage to the zombies. I would rather try them out on a battle with maybe one zombie than two, because they do have the status attack paralyzed, so I don't want to be stun-locked with those guys. And again, I'm being kind of liberal with my healing spells, because I know that once I clear this treasure room out, I have to take the long way to get there. I'll be exiting out. Here's another battle with rogues, so another back attack. But again, that means that this is an escapable battle. You can get away from this fight. Any battle that you have a back attack or the opposite, you can get away from. Chance to strike first or a monster strike first is possible to run. And I've heard from the author of this hack that more of the battles in this game are escapable because the choice was made to make the rogue or the thief type character a lot more valuable. And if you just have a bunch of battles that are kind of bafflingly inescapable, it doesn't really make narrative sense for a lot of the random battles in this game to be inescapable. It really diminishes the value of bringing a character who specializes in running away. There's a silver sword. There's a silver shield. So the silver sword is a step up. Unfortunately, I don't have any sword-using characters, but the shield is nice because T-Hawk is kind of one armor step and one hammer step below my paladin. So whenever I get an upgrade in a hammer for the paladin, I can upgrade my cleric to be one hammer step higher than he was. And the same thing for shields. The cleric can use shields where the Viking cannot. So just because I've been so poor this game, that's why the T-Hawk has been so low in equipment. So whenever I get a step up, I can kind of get a hand-me-down on the last tier. So that's a nice little upgrade. And I'm still waiting to pick up those step-up weapons, but you can see why I waited in town. I did not spend a bunch of money buying the step-up armor and weapons because I was hoping that I would find some of them down here in the volcano, and maybe if I can't find them after this volcano crawl, I will spend a little to step up a piece of armor or two. But at this point, it's not really worth it to step up the my staff for my sage. It's not really worth buying those because the damage is just so low already. Now 5,000 is a nice chunk, and there's a silver staff, so the least useful weapon I now have a step up on. So my sage can do a little bit more damage when attacking. It's not going to be anything too exciting. So we're just going to go ahead and get out of this one, and we're going to tackle the rest of the Gurgu volcano in the next video, going down from B3 all the way down to B5. If you do like this video, feel free to hit that thumbs up button or the subscribe button. Share it out if you know someone who would like to see a ROM hack of Final Fantasy I being played. And leave a comment. I always love to hear from you. We will see you next time for the rest of the volcano.